Hi, my name is Catherine Janisek. I'm going to have a special guest on tonight. Her name is Julie Holton, and she is the founder and the CEO of mConnexions, and that is a digital agency that helps with social media marketing and any other kind of digital marketing that you may have. I feel like a lot of people on my social media, on my Facebook page, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, felt lost. We feel like sometimes we don't have a voice, or the people who we've elected haven't helped us. I've been in television for 20 years. I know how this works. There's a school shooting, we do wall-to-wall coverage for days, and we get officials on to talk about, new laws that they might be passing or why there's laws that aren't passing. And then the news cycle, it disappears. It drops out of the news cycle. I'm going to just bring Julie on here. Julie also was an executive producer at television stations. She has felt this where every time, there is a school shooting, and all of a sudden, it leaves the news cycle. Hi, Julie. We have seen people who constantly have a story or have a brand that they want to get more people to see their brand. So that's what we do. Like, we help people. We create video for them. We create digital content. We help people get their story out there, okay? Knowing that, showing you that you are actually very powerful, that all of you who have, there's a lot of people who emailed me, they're in mental health care, or I've got, law enforcement who's like, I really want to talk about AK-47s. Like, should they even be in the hands of people? Should we be able to buy them? Julie and I want to get on, and we want to talk about how you can get the attention of the media there in your town or the national media. So, Julie, tell me, you were on last week with me, and we talked about how the Facebook algorithm has changed. Mm-hmm. Tell the people at home how it's actually helped in it's helped put the ball in their court, and they actually have more ammunition to actually be able to go out and get their story to be told, correct?
Right, absolutely. And, it's interesting, Catherine, I want to point out as I'm watching people come on and join us live here, we have members of local news that are here watching us right now, whether it be radio, TV. So this is a perfect example to show, hi, Ann, hi, Mojo, Penny, thanks for joining us. This is a perfect example to show that people are tuning in. Even on their own time on the weekends, that we have a platform to reach people, even through our own social media pages. Now, the way the Facebook algorithm changes are really helping us is, think back to the elections not too long ago, and all of the news that has come out since then, and the news that's continuing to evolve about Russian interference with the election. In combat of that, Facebook has really created some avenues through its algorithm changes that would benefit us when it comes to news, because Facebook is saying, look, we don't want any of that. We don't want people to be negatively influenced, or put into harm's way because of these things that are going on. We want news to be true. We want it to be pure. We want it to be coming from the right sources, right? So what we're seeing is a really big emphasis placed on news. And in fact, Facebook is rolling out in 6 cities right now an entirely new section of the platform on the app that is dedicated to making sure that local news and local events take a priority in people's news feeds. So we're talking 6 cities: New Orleans, Little Rock, Arkansas, Billings, Montana, Peoria, Illinois, Olympia, Washington, and one other city in New York, that are really kind of the test cities right now, because Facebook feels that this is so important to us. A lot of people are going to social media to get their news. In fact, studies are showing more and more that people are turning to social media even before turning to some of the more traditional media outlets. Now, that's not saying that people aren't watching TV or reading their papers. They're just turning to those same sources on social media. And Catherine, you and I were talking about this earlier, just in casual conversation. The interesting thing is Facebook is putting such an emphasis on news that if you look at it from a business perspective, if your page can have any connection to news. So for instance, that local NBC station in Chattanooga does a story with you. Maybe it has to do with some of these issues that we're talking about now. Catherine, I know you mentioned you had someone email you about an app they've created that has something to do with students and school safety. So let's say that the maker of that app is featured on a news article. The news article then gets posted on social media tagging that company, that creator, or even that individual in that story. And Facebook starts to include that within its algorithm, giving it more of an authority, saying, okay, if this news organization, which we know has a large number of followers, it's very popular, now is being connected to this company that maybe is still growing in size, but Facebook still will give that smaller company more of that authority, much like we see that Google does with backlinks and SEO. But Facebook is now taking, I would say it's a somewhat similar approach and sharing that authority. So now I think more than ever, in addition to sharing views and sharing on social media, if you can have that connection, especially to local news outlets, even if it's a newspaper in town, it might be a weekly paper or a community paper. If that paper has a social media page and you're tied to that, that's going to help you within Facebook's algorithm and getting your placement in the news feed.
That's a great point. I think back in the day, a lot of people would ask their PR people, their marketing people, their media relations directors, please get me, I want Today's Show. I want to be seen on NBC in New York, Chicago, whatever. But this is what's great about Facebook and some other social media platforms is that you can, like my clients, I tend to try to get them, if I can't, you can only get sometimes one NBC New York, but you can get a lot of these other digital news agencies that are out there, or you can get on a small market or whatever it is. The big thing to take home for everybody at home is you don't need the big fish to feature your story. You don't have to have a Today's Show hit or a GMA to get that news story out there. You don't really need someone to book you on GMA, Good Morning America or something. You can go for those lower hanging fruit, like those smaller digital news agencies, because now, Julie, what do you do then?
So as soon as you have that one post, it's up to you to really make that, we in general terms say go viral. That doesn't mean it's going to go around the world. That may not be what you're looking for, although it could. We could get that story to go around the globe, but what we're looking for here is that engagement. So you're engaging with the post. You also now, once it's featured on even a smaller news outlet site, you then have the engagement from that page. So anyone who's interacting with that post, sharing it on their own social sites, that's going to help extend your reach and really leverage this opportunity the most that you can. And Catherine, I want to turn this back around and ask you a question. How, as we're talking about some of this media attention and we're talking about why it matters on Facebook and how we can leverage that attention and leverage these new algorithm changes to your benefit. How do we get that media attention in the first place? What is it when you have someone who approaches you, say with this app, or say it's someone in law enforcement, what are some of those first steps they can take to really even know where to start in getting that local media attention?
Last week, I got that because somebody did reach out, and I'm going to mention, Mary, you're awesome. You reached out right away to one of the emails I sent out, and she said, I'm the head of an nonprofit adoption agency, and it's national, and I want to help the news do the story about what happens sometimes with a child who is adopted. In this case, the student, the adult who went in to the school in Parkland, Florida, happened to be adopted. His father died early, then his mom just died in November, and she had some things that she wanted to educate the public. Well, when I did a search on her, and I'm just using Mary, you as an example, when I did a search on you, I didn't find a great website. I didn't find an amazing, a Facebook presence, a Twitter presence. And what any producer, any journalist is going to do is they're going to see if you have a digital footprint. They're going to make sure, they're going to check you out, right? So you can have someone either send your story to the media, or you can reach out to the media and say, I've got this great angle. I'd love for you to interview me because I want to make a difference and I want my story to be heard. But if you don't have that resume kind of thing online to show who you are and the difference your company has made and how long your company's been in business and how long your nonprofit has helped people, that story isn't already out there digitally, there's a very slim chance of you actually getting that booking. So the big thing is you have to make sure you have a legitimate look online. You have a great digital footprint, you have a website, you're on social media. And then the next step is really building those relationships with the media. If you're not going to go and hire a big time PR company, take it from me, a media coach. All you have to do, sometimes it's very easy. You could just start relationships on Twitter, on Facebook, by telling your favorite reporter or your favorite anchor, here, I just have some stuff for you. You know, always helping them with their job, and you helping them with their stories is going to make you one of the first people they go to when they're like, oh my God, this child was adopted. We need to talk to Mary because Mary is the head of this organization and she would be a great expert on this. So it's building that great digital imprint. It's that resume online, and then building those relationships with your local media so you can become a resource to them, and therefore you can get your story out there and you can tell your story, and you can not feel like so many of us feel right now, is that we feel kind of hopeless. Like, how can we help fix this? Again, Julie, I was saying before that you were an executive producer at television stations. You know, didn't you check people out before you would just book them?
Absolutely. If you couldn't find someone online, they weren't going to end up in the show, that's for sure. But one way that we know that social media has helped television to evolve, even since or during our days when we were in the newsrooms, Catherine, is even when you feel that your story isn't big enough. I mean, how often do you hear that from some of your clients? They have a lot to give, but they think the news isn't going to think that they have a lot to give, that maybe it's not going to be that headline story. You know what? That's okay. Stations now, I know we had Ann Emmerich join us from WILX here in Lansing, and Ann and I have talked. You know, their station puts out news that just sees their website, that just goes out on social media. So stations we're finding, like here in Lansing and for the country, are doing that. They really want to be providing that content. So even if it's not going to be the headline story that night, they have producers in the newsroom, even web producers, social media producers, who are working to add that extra content online. And that's really all we need, because we know that once that content's online, we can then leverage it throughout our social platforms through engagement.
This is the best time to live if you've got a story to tell, because it's so easy to become a little mini newsroom, right?
And I love your message tonight, Catherine, because so many of us as individuals really want to make a difference. And how many posts have we seen, enough with thoughts and prayers? Or, you know, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on with your political opinions. We can all agree that we don't want children to keep being harmed. And so many people as individuals want to make a difference and maybe don't know how. But social media is giving us that platform where we can start having those conversations that maybe we're not having in different ways. But whether it's as an individual or as a business owner, as an employee of a business that maybe has a tool that can help, that's where the power of social media really can be harnessed to tell these stories, Catherine, as you're saying. Once we get these stories out there, our collective voices can make a difference. And really, at the end of the day, that's what we're looking to do.
So this is a pretty positive thing then, what we're finding, what you saw in the last couple of weeks, that if people feel like, you know, gosh, I really don't like the Facebook algorithm, this is a great highlight.
These algorithm changes really benefit local news and benefit consumers of news. And so really, it really is a positive change. And like any changes, we need to adapt. Our strategies need to be fluid. We need to know how to maneuver and adjust. But this is one that really is a win-win on all sides.
Julie, I have to give an example. Somebody just posted on my Facebook page. He looks like anybody's dad, and he is out in the middle of his field. He could be like in heartland of America, and he's got an AK-47 on his lap, and he said, I have the right to own this. I'm a legal owner of this gun, but I am willing to give it up if it means that I could save lives out there. He said all of these shooters have been legal owners of guns. They've been people who legally purchased their guns. So I feel like if I go and sell this gun, though, I would blame myself forever if it ends up in the wrong hands someday. So he sits there on Facebook in this video and he destroys the gun with a saw in his backyard, and he says, this is over. For this gun, it's over. But Facebook and just social media in general has given him a platform. And imagine now if that story touches other people to destroy their AK-47 before it gets in the wrong hands of somebody else. You know, these things can go viral and you can make a difference, right, Julie? People at home watching this right now, you can make a difference. I'm open to questions. If you've got them, please message them here in this video on the comments, and we are here to help you. Again, it's Julie Holton, and she is the CEO and head of mConnexions, and she's awesome. And we just want to team up tonight and help you get your story out.